So,
Hello.
Amber flew into Colorado to do this interview today. Just kidding. That's not why she flew in. I'm gonna let her tell y'all why she flew to Colorado in just a little bit. Jennifer and Amber were very good friends. They're in their, from what I understand, their children are eventually going to get married. Is that correct?
Yes, very much so. Yeah.
And it's not an arranged marriage, right?
No.
Well,
yeah.
Jen is the sister-in-law to Brent and Julie French, and she was a kind of silent Plexus user. She didn't get vocal about it for a while. So Jen, give me a little bit of history on your getting in with Plexus and what was the turning point for you that got you totally involved.
All right. So back in April of 2012, Julie called me and said, "Hey, we have this awesome diet program, and we want you to do it with us. Come on, let's do it." And I lovingly said, "No, thank you. I love you. Goodbye." And so I don't know how lovingly it was, but at about April, they called me back and said, "We both lost 40 pounds. Are you sure you don't want to do this? Really, really? You sure?" So then I thought, dang it, I think I might have to try it. So I went ahead and ordered a welcome package to get it at the cheapest price, and started taking the products. But like you said, I was going to be a secret agent, because I had been part of like 4 other businesses prior to that and failed miserably at all of them, and I didn't want anybody to look at me that way ever again. So I had left my job to spend my last summer with my, at that point, 5-year-old before kindergarten, and I took a road trip down to Pensacola to visit you guys from colorful Colorado, and I had the opportunity to visit you guys at a meeting. And so Brent and Julie and you, Lyndalyn, and Donna and Roy were there, and were very warm and welcoming, and I got to watch a whole bunch of people tell about their testimonies about weight loss, as well as being able to replace income and lose jobs. Not lose, because you want to get rid of those, right? And so at that point, knowing that when I went back home that I would have to get another job, I thought, you know what? What if I'm not a secret agent, and if I tell people, I might be able to stay home with my son? And I thought, I could help people get healthy, as well as possibly enable myself to be able to be with my son, which was my big goal. So I came back home and decided that I could actually share Plexus with the world. And at that point, I think I'd lost about 20 pounds.
Cool, very cool. Somebody told me I was saying cool too much today, so fabulous. How about that? Even better. And so when you went back, you started posting on Facebook, or what did you do that ended up attracting Miss Amber to the game?
Well, I think Amber's probably going to be able to tell you a little bit better about that. But just posting way more than my husband thinks is proper on Facebook. He still tells me to this day, "Can you stop sending so much stuff? It just filled up the news feed and annoys people." I'm like, "Yeah, I know." So I had posted several things, and Amber had asked me a couple questions through the process, but I don't know, how long had you been watching?
I remember having my son in September and seeing the first one around October, and I joined in March. So, and I asked a lot more than just a couple questions. I probably asked about 100 at least. So I always tell the representatives, don't worry about those people that are, asking a lot of questions and taking a long time to make a decision, because it's going to happen when it's supposed to, when it's meant to be, if it's meant to be. So.
And how much weight did I lose?
You had lost 55 pounds.
55 pounds.
Yeah. That's when I was like, okay, I'm done. I'm done talking.
And Jen, you lost a total of what?
I've hit 69 pounds, and I have a picture that seems to be representative of my journey, of me holding my 6-month-old yellow lab, and she was 67 pounds at the time, and that's how much I had lost at that time. And I got to tell you, 67 pounds is a lot to pick up, and I don't know how I even walked.
I know,
prior.
I know. That's what, everybody says when they lose this weight. If you give yourself a visual of what that weight was, if it's, you know, 20 bags of, 5-pound bags of flour or whatever, you look at that and go, I can't pick that up, and yet you used to walk around with that kind of weight on you, so it's I think that's one of those things when you give yourself a visual like that, like, somebody said today they had lost 2 turkeys, that's pretty funny, because, if you carry a turkey out of the store at Thanksgiving, it's an arm load, you feel like you had a workout going on. So I love the visual that you gave with the dog. I think that is a very, very cool thing. Now, you guys have just done some phenomenal work since, November. The 1st of November, when we came back from leadership. Not that you weren't doing great before, because you had some teams going and you were doing good, but tell me what happened at leadership, Amber, that just turned you around.
Well, Eric Worre was at Leaders Retreat, and he was just wonderful. I did my best to listen to everything he had to say, and he talked about 90 days to change your life. And I really thought about what he said about, talking to your husband or your significant other and letting them know that, you have this big giant goal and you want to give it 100% for 90 days and it could change your entire life. So I decided I was going to do it, and I was going to try and get as much of my team to do it, so that way not only I could, reach a lot of my goals, but my biggest thing is helping them reach theirs. So I said, I'm going to, have something big. We're going to, get my team excited. I didn't really know what I was doing at the time, but I just completely wung it. And I decided that for 90 days we were going to haul as much as we could and give it 100%, and we did. So we did a really good job.
Yes. And now let's just qualify that a little bit. You came home from leadership, and in one day, your team signed how many people?
We had 19 join on the first day of November, so.
24-hour period.
In a 24-hour period, and then we had our 20th person sign up right after midnight. I tried so hard.
I'm sure their clock was wrong.
I'm sure it was. I know it was.
That is a phenomenal number of people in one day. Now, how many of those were on your first level?
In November and December, I personally sponsored 8 on my first level.
That's cool. Now, Jen, I know that you are, of course, since Amber is on your team, benefiting from what she's doing, but you've had quite a growth explosion yourself. What are you guys doing to train these ambassadors so that they are working on the duplication process and getting started right?
We have documents full of links to certain videos that we definitely want people to watch, like Eric Worre, and listen to the audio or get his book and try to get that into them as quickly as possible. We use the wonderful leaders in our company that we would listen to today. We've got Sonia Dudley videos and Sarah Marvel videos, and your training videos actually for some back office stuff are some things that are part of my document. And we just try to lead by example, and we keep as active as we can in our groups on Facebook to keep posting new training all the time and new documents.
Well, we have an email that we sent out. Thanks to Sarah Marvel for helping us kind of edit our original that we had. But we have an email that we send out to all of our new ambassadors explaining what we expect them to do in the first week or so, which is simply, contacting us, reading a little bit of our new ambassador handbook that we have that gives a lot of information about where to find things in the back office, things that they need to know immediately. But we try to get them to get on the phones with us. We also try to get them to do 3-way calls or 3-way messaging with us. That seems to help a lot. Just leading by example, like she said, you aren't personally sponsoring ambassadors, but you are expecting your team to do that, it's not going to happen. If you're not showing them that, you know, the hard work pays off and what you're doing will pay off, they're not going to want to do it. So.
Right, absolutely.
The earlier Danielle was on talking about her training calls, and we met her at Leaders Retreat, and we jumped on those calls. I think we actually were part of the calls before Leaders Retreat, right? Anyway, you had listened to the three.
Yeah.
So the power of 3 calls and getting them plugged in to listen to that is very duplicatable. You can have them show the next person how to listen to that phone call and many of the other phone calls, and go to the back office and watch previous versions of the Wednesday night call and pick up new testimonials. And one thing that I really loved that you did at the very beginning was saying that treat going through the testimonials groups like your full-time job, like so that you can absorb as many different testimonials as you can, because you don't know who you're going to run into that just happens to have that one particular health issue that you weren't aware that has been helped until you go and you read all these testimonies. So that was huge.
I had a friend of mine who I never would have recommended Plexus to. She was a very healthy person, but because of a testimonial in the testimonies group, I was able to introduce her to Plexus for some issues that she was having with her mind after a car accident. Plexus helped her significantly, and she's one of my ambassadors and doing well. And if it wasn't for the fact that I treat like the testimonials page as if it's my job, I would have never seen that testimonial, and I would have never been able to recommend the products to her. So,
making sure that you, every single new person, and as many of those testimonials groups as you can, and teach them that that's what they do to people, as well as when there's customers that are interested. The first thing is say, may I please add you to these testimonials groups, because you can search in there for certain keywords that are important to them, which we might not really know about. So we find that great.
Right, I agree. Those are great groups that you can find out information and learn before you have your story. You know, just like Sheila was saying earlier today. Okay, so you don't have a story yet. There are plenty of stories out there from other people with Plexus now that you need to go and find them out and be able to share those, because even if you do have your own story, I don't have a diabetes story of my own. I didn't have diabetes, or I didn't have fibro. You know, those kind of things are there and available on those testimonial pages. If you guys are not involved in those testimonial pages already, ask your upline or whoever referred you to this summit today to hook you up with those Facebook pages so you can check those out. That is a great tip, you guys. That is like on top of it there. So Miss Amber, did I see in my postings that you are a unofficial Ruby ambassador?
Yes, you did.
Don't make me blush.
Congratulations. That was a last minute thing last night, right?
It was very last minute. Yes, it was very close. But Brent French told me, I said it was just barely, and he says barely counts. So
that's right.
It counted, and I'm very excited. We worked very hard for it. My team is wonderful, and I have them to thank for it. So thank you.
True. So yes, a new Ruby. Woohoo!
and Jen, you were already a Ruby, what, a month or two?
I think this is my second month.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Awesome. Very good. So we got 2 Rubies sitting in the same room. Now, Amber, you are originally from Colorado, but are currently living on the East Coast. What are you doing back in Colorado?
Go Broncos. We're watching the Super Bowl. But
that is too fun.
Our kids had to see.
That's funny. So you came home to watch the Super Bowl. Would you have been able to do this prior to Plexus?
Absolutely not. You know, we moved to Indiana last year because of the fact that my husband got a great job. And we were very excited because we had struggled financially for a long time. We were very happy to finally have this relief. And once we got there, all the bills started. The higher rent, the student loan payments, all the debt that we owed for struggling for so long suddenly hit us. Of course, medical bills. I had just had a little baby boy, and there was all these little things happening, and it hit me that, like, we really didn't have that much extra money that I thought we were going to have. And I had a little hair bow business before Plexus, and I was spending hours on end making hair bows. Every single minute that I had free was making hair bows, and it was exhausting. I was tired. I wasn't making very much money. We had enough to maybe go get something out to eat every once in a while, or, you know, maybe buy some clothes for the kids. And it was helpful, but I struggled a lot to decide to make the decision to join Plexus, to try the products because of the money, because I didn't want to spend the extra. And when I joined Plexus, the $34.95, I really struggled to come up with that. And I can't tell you how glad I am that I figured it out, because I can't even tell you how many times I've been paid back that $34.95. So.
But don't forget, you have to tell the beginning part. One of us should say it anyway. That when she was just going to buy the products. Wait, no, you started out as a customer.
I did. I started out as a customer. I actually wanted to buy the welcome package just because I wanted the cheaper products. But my husband was really hesitant, and I, you know, followed what he wanted me to do. I went ahead and bought the 30-day. I told Jennifer, even if I buy the welcome package, I'm not selling it. I'm not selling it. I'm way too busy. I'm not selling it. Period. Done. I'm not selling it. Not selling it. I'm not selling it. Probably said it about 1,000 times. And it was 5 days later. I looked in the mirror, took a picture of myself, and I joined Plexus. So it didn't take very long to change my mind once I actually tried the products. And it's been just a roller coaster ride. My husband, who was afraid to tell that I joined Plexus, is very happy that I joined. He's very happy with what it's given to us, and the fact that, like you said, we've been able to come visit our family more often, because it was really hard not being able to see them. And we were just here in November. Plexus paid for that. We're here again, and Plexus paid for that. So.
And Plexus is going to pay for you to go to Dallas in just a few months, right?
Yes, I'm very excited, and we're going to go to Disneyland after that, and Plexus will be paying for that. So, yeah.
But I want to point out that that was 6 months that she watched me posting on Facebook. I had been posting prior to that, but when she first saw it, so don't ever give up. Don't ever think all this stuff is for naught. And I just recently have gotten a couple of customers, and now it's been 16, 17 months since I've been posting on Facebook, and have new customers, and another new lady who's planning on joining next week, so that have been watching all this time. So sometimes people just need to see that you're there, you're committed, and you're not going anywhere.
Yeah, I definitely think that people are waiting for you to quit. People are waiting to see if you actually pull through, if the company's as good as they say they are, because they know that if you don't quit, that, you know, if someone knows you and they know that you're not quitting, they think that they could do it too, because obviously they can do it better than you. So if you could do it, you know, I can too, kind of attitude, which is so true. So
yeah, I know what you're saying. You know, people are waiting for you to fail. And that's so sad to say that, but they're waiting to go, I told you so, you know, and then when you keep going, and it kind of goes back to that relationship marketing that Alfred was talking about earlier. You know, some relationships take longer to cultivate. You just don't click with some people right off the bat. Heck, I didn't click with my husband when the first time we met. You know, it took a couple of years before we ever saw each other in the light that we see each other now. And, you know, you just have to build those relationships. Sometimes it just takes post after post after post, not all in the same day, but, you know, over time, and those relationships are born. I love the fact that it took Amber 6 months to finally go.
I have them write me all the time, you know, this person keeps asking and asking, and I don't know what else to say. I said, just keep answering their questions, because if they want it and it's going to happen, nothing you say is going, you know, if you keep forcing it on them, it's just going to turn them away. Let them lead you in the conversation, and let them come to you. Don't force it. So that's what I've realized over the past few months is the less I forced it, the better I've done.
But I have to add on to that. This is very true in many, many ways. But I'm very proud of you and your team because I think you've gone way farther than most of us in the go for no shot and being able to open up the communication with people and to make that connection with somebody on Facebook that you haven't really connected with in a while and to ask if you can share some information with them as opposed to just waiting for them to come to you, which unfortunately is something that I generally do. I wait for people like Amber to come talk with me, and I think that initiating communication has been one of your huge skills. That it's.
I think that there's that fine line. You initiating the conversation is key. That's either by posting or doing the go for no's, talking to that person that you meet at the store. Initiating the conversation is very important. However, not writing them 50 times afterwards that's a good time to stop. So
that is true. There's a balance.
Yes, there's a very big balance. So.
There's a line between stalking and actually doing good, right?
It works for Celeste, so maybe we'll give it a try.
There you go. There you go. Now, you just said, Jen, meeting that person in the grocery store or whatever. Give somebody an example of, how you've met people other than on Facebook and just been able to initiate a conversation with them.
I said that. I'm very friendly. I'm very outgoing. I will talk to anyone, and I have no problem with it. So I keep my cards handy. I listen to people's conversations. I'm very nosy. I'm not gonna lie, but I listen. I listen for those conversation starters, and I have a guy at my husband's barbershop that I've been talking to for months. I finally brought him a sample the other day, and it brought up a conversation with someone else in the shop who has diabetes and things like that. So I find ways to. For example, I have a new representative who just joined my team. We met at Walmart in the baby section. We were talking about baby pajamas, and we started talking about how she had a bunch of used clothes for my son's size, and I gave her my card, and she goes, "Oh, you're a Plexus lady!" So, it was that easy. It can be so much easier. You don't have to, you don't necessarily have to talk to someone about Plexus to start that conversation, to initiate that relationship to be built. Letting someone know that you are actually talking to them about something other than what, would give you monetary reward. Yeah. I like to just have a conversation with people before I talk to them about what I have to offer. So I think that relationship is a big thing, big key.
And I think part of, I'm sorry, if it's okay, Linda, so because of Plexus, I'm able to not go to a traditional job and not have to, I get to volunteer in school a lot and do a lot of neat programs. And so when other volunteers are coming in on their days off and that kind of stuff, if we're just chatting around the laminator or something, they ask, so, do you work? I get to open a conversation about the fact that, I'm getting paid while I'm helping here at the school, which is pretty amazing. And of course, I don't start that way, but it's the gist of it. Starting with, I have a home business that helps people get healthy and be able to work from home or be able to be around their kids. So there's lots of ways that you can open up conversations.
Yeah, I was going to share. I have a ambassador that she just cracked me up one day. She calls me and she goes, "You are not going to believe what I just did." And I said, "Well, please tell me, because if you're calling me, it's got to be good." She was in Hobby Lobby craft store one day, and she had been kind of listening to a couple of ladies talk that was near her, and she said she kind of followed them around a little bit to hear what they were saying. So the next thing she does is she picks up her phone and she calls her husband and starts just blabbing on to him about, "Oh yeah, good to hear from you. Yeah, I started with this product and I've lost this much weight and it's helped with this and that." And she said the next thing she did, those ladies were following her around the store until she got off the phone and was like, hey, I'm sorry, we were eavesdropping. And yeah, they're apologizing to her when actually she had been the one who originally eavesdropped. So I thought that was just the cutest thing and the best conversation starter I had ever heard. She said she called her husband back later on. He was like, what were you doing?
I expect in the next 2 weeks to get a call from Amber just like that. I'll be like, oh, okay, where are you?
It kind of reminds me, Angel Fletcher one day posted that she sold like 20 3-day trials in one shopping trip because she went to a store and just said, well, I'm looking for clothes. I don't really know what size I am because I've lost 100 pounds. And a million people flocked to her. So there's so many ways to do it, and it really can be so much easier if you just are willing to open yourself up just a little bit. You don't even have to be that outgoing of a person in order to do it. You know, stepping out of your comfort zone, just a hair, I promise, is going to help. So,
yeah, I love it.
A lot.
Brent said not too long ago that he was shopping with Julie, which, you know, is, you know, uncomfortable for guys in general to go shopping with the wife. And he said here he was in a ladies' clothing store, and finally this lady says, well, you know, so what are you here? What are y'all doing here today? And he goes, well, my wife is, you know, she's lost this weight and everything. And they were like, well, how'd she lose the weight? And he goes, well, let me just tell you. And he pulls out a business card. So, you know, business cards I think are key. Samples are key. What do you guys carry in your purse or in your bag with you when you go out?
I have 3-day trials with me almost all the time. I always have about 15 in stock. I also give samples and catalogs away often if I have someone who's just not quite sure that they even want to invest the $11.95. So I will carry samples and business cards and 3-day trials, and I always have gas relief cream samples. So
exactly, and the catalogs.
Yes, catalogs.
Keep it with you. You don't have it, you can't share it, right?
Exactly.
That's right. I think that our catalogs are probably one of the best tools that the company has come out with for us. They're reasonably priced, and they have so much information in them.
Mm-hmm. They really do. They have information on the products, all the prices in them, the opportunity. It's a great tool to use. I always keep those in stock too.
Well, I'm going to see if you guys can help me with a question here. We've been asked a question, how do you get past a plateau? My answer is my plateaus on the scale usually were accompanied with weight inches lost and sizes that came down. So my thing is I don't look at just the scales. There are lots of other ways to measure loss than just by the way the scales move. So I don't know that I've ever considered a plateau. But have you guys got any advice for them on that? Have you ever experienced that and had to deal with it?
I personally, I kind of threw out my scale. It's frustrating as a woman to have that fluctuating 10 pounds that, seem to go and come constantly. So I stopped weighing myself completely. I only do my inches. We did a weight loss challenge a month ago, and I had to get on the scale, and I hate getting on the scale. But I've been focusing on inches, and I think that is huge. If I had only focused on pounds with my weight loss journey of Plexus, I would have given up, in all honesty. I had only lost 2 pounds my first month. If it wasn't for the fact that Jennifer knew to ask the right questions, she was a great leader from the beginning, encouraged me to take a photo at the beginning, encouraged me to measure myself in the beginning. If it wasn't for those things, I would have given up because I would have been focusing on I've only lost 2 pounds. Instead, I had lost 8 inches in my first month. My second month, it went increased and increased. I've only lost 16 pounds with Plexus since March. I've lost 42 inches. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
I had lost a lot of weight with my son after I had him, just on my own. But the inches weren't coming off. I couldn't fit in any of my pre-pregnancy jeans, even though I was even smaller, weight-wise, than I was when I was pregnant, before I was pregnant with him. And I tell people, just throw it out. It's just, it's a horrible thing to keep in your bathroom. Throw it away. It's horrible. I do not like it.
I have to agree with that.
But as far as plateaus go, I look at what I'm doing. Usually, if I'm honest with myself, and I'm not saying this is always the case, but honestly, if I look at myself, I realize I haven't been drinking enough water, or I've been snacking a little bit too much, or I've been, I went out to eat, 3 times last week, and I only normally go 1, If you really look at it and you're honest with yourself, I think a lot of times you can figure out where your plateau is. But honestly, plateaus happen, and they're going to happen. Focus on those inches, and, just keep doing what you can do the best way you can do it. And it's just going to, that plateau is eventually going to drop again. So,
right.
Patience, and then Julie, I believe, is the one who told me that we should take a week or 2 away from the accelerator at that time, and then start it again, so your body kind of gets out of being used to it, and then it's a jump start again when you start back on the accelerator, which I think worked a lot for me when I felt that I had, and unfortunately I did not measure at the beginning, so I do not have that wonderful large number that it would be. So I didn't get to have the inches to measure during those times that I was at a plateau. But now we have like the X factor, and we know so much more about Candida. Everybody everywhere should take the spit test. Please go set a glass of water out by the sink right now so that you can go spit in it in the morning. It's really gross, but it's really important. So you could be battling, you could lose a few pounds if you still have the Candida, but then if you get stuck, check it if you haven't already checked your Candida, and tack it. Get that ProBio and the BioCleanse, and you'll be amazed at what other things get better for you besides just losing the weight. But the plateaus, I've heard somebody sometimes say, we don't lose the weight. We don't gain the weight in a steady incline. It's not going to come off in a steady incline. We're going to go through, peaks and valleys. And
yeah, that's what I was going to say. Your body has to catch up. You don't gain just like you said straight up. There's a little gain, and then there's a level off, and then there's a little more gain and a level off. It's got to come off the same way. Your body has to catch up with that. So plateaus are normal, and they are part of the function of your body. Now, I will agree. I'm going to elaborate on the spit test just a little bit, since we haven't even talked about that today. There is a non-scientific test that you can do to see if you have Candida or an overgrowth of Candida. And what you need is a clear glass with bottled water in it. And the first thing in the morning when you get up, spit in that glass. Don't brush your teeth, don't kiss the husband, whatever. Spit in that cup, and then go about your business. That sounds like such a ladylike thing to talk about, but I guess it's as good as the intestinal tract that we've talked about so much today. So go about your business and come back in about 5 minutes. And if your spit has done anything other than totally dissipate and you don't see it in that glass anymore, then you have some form of Candida overgrowth. It is grown legs, looks like a jellyfish. If it is floating at the top or the bottom, there is a reason for that, and it is most likely Candida, which is where you need to add in the BioCleanse and the ProBio 5 into your system so that you can take care of that problem and get it leveled out. It may not take care of it in a month. It may take you a couple months, depending on where you're at in the overgrowth of the Candida. And you've heard Lori talk about how that can affect so many things and be part of so many diseases, autoimmune diseases, and things like that. So if you are at a plateau, let that be your starting point. See if you have a candida problem. See if you have a digestive problem, and let's take care of that. And remember what Roy said. It may not get straightened out right away. It may take a couple of months still on that plateau. He plateaued for over 3 months. And finally started losing weight, and you know, now he's down 65 pounds. So be sure and be patient. You know, weight loss is not a fast thing, and you shouldn't lose 40 pounds in a month. That's not healthy for you. That is something that should be taken off just a couple of pounds a week. And I know that people are like, oh, I want to lose more weight than that in a week's time. Well, you shouldn't lose more than that in a week's time. And there are lots of scientific studies to tell you why to do that we just don't have time to get into today. So that takes care of our plateau question. Anything you girls want to share, whether it be product-wise or ambassador-wise with everybody?
I have something that our team on the Sunday night calls have heard and are going to be like, oh, okay, again. Anyway, so I have this strong mission in mind when it comes to sharing not just about the health testimonies. I have seen so many people change not just their outsides, but being able to find themselves, be able to reach down inside and find their worth, their mission in life. Being able to help other people has lit them up from the inside. And I challenge you guys to look around at the people who you've seen change and see the metamorphosis that has happened in their lives, and be able to speak on in front of thousands of people, and people like Ruth who can now stand, and she goes and talks to people at the mall. And I think that we are raised with this kind of fear, fear of change. We all have some fear of change, not wanting to get outside of our comfort zone, which, you know, you talked about. But I think that, you know, we're told, and it's not our parents' fault, because I think our parents were told this too, don't dream too big. Have a fallback plan. You know, what if your dreams don't come true? And they want us not to feel the pain of failure, but that means that we're not really trying something new, not breaking outside of our little box. And I got to tell you, when you get out of that box, life is amazing and wonderful, and the people that you meet are truly inspiring. And I just wish for you to be able to get past that fear and be able to show the world the real you that is shining out there. And I fight with fear and talking to people. You've not seen me talk about going into a store and starting to talk with people. I'm very blessed to have a lot of people on my team that aren't as fearful as me, I guess. But fighting that fear is huge. And I know that I'm not alone having, you know, fear. I know that Celeste and Amber are great examples of people who don't have those issues. But anybody can do this business. Anybody can help people change their lives. You just have to decide that it's okay, that you can open your mouth and you can share with people, because the rewarding experience that it is, besides, of course, financially, it'll just make your heart swell with as many people's lives that you can touch in so many different ways. And yes, losing weight and getting off medications, all those things are fabulous and wonderful, but my personal favorite is seeing people blossom and bloom and become the people that they should be.
And I completely agree. I'm just going to add on to it. I'm sorry. I noticed one day I was looking in the testimonials page, and I'm looking at picture after picture after picture, and I realized that every single one of the ambassadors or customers that had started Plexus, they all have this like certain smile on their face that like is very recognizable. It's just amazing to see their before picture where you could just tell that their confidence is so low, and then you see that, you know, now picture, and you could just see it in their eyes and their face, their smile. They're glowing, they're happy, and that means so much to me personally. I mean, I can't tell you how happy I am that, we're making great money and that, it's helping us financially, but I've helped a lot of other people get, break out of their own comfort zones and start becoming financially free and happy, and that makes me even more happy than anything else that Plexus could do for me. So.
Who was it? It was Zig Ziglar that says if you help enough people get to what they want, you'll by far exceed what you want in life.
And that's definitely something to work on. So.
I also wanted to share with you the business side. There's, oh man, I don't even know his name. He's like the super MLM man, and he wears a cape, and he goes and interviews people.
Richard
Bliss, right?
Yeah.
Bliss, yep. And so he shows these videos of interviewing people on the road about what they know about network marketing, and they don't know anything at all. So, so we need to step back and approach, say, oh, don't you want to, you want to join a network marketing business, you want to come with us, you want to do this. People don't know what the heck you're talking about. So don't just jump in there and say that because they don't know what it is you're talking about, and then they just automatically shut down and go, oh, no, she's crazy, I don't want to talk to her. So educating people about what the network marketing business is and its potential and how they can break out of somebody telling them how many dollars an hour they're worth and be able to choose how much they earn by how much they work is something that it's going to take a while because nobody teaches us this in school. And we need to teach this in school. We need to teach our children. My son Logan is 7, and he listens to Zig Ziglar, and he listens to Les Brown and Jim Rohn and that kind of stuff in the car with me. I want to program him the right way instead of the wrong way that we've all been programmed all these years.
We have a better way.
We have a better way.
That's right. We have a better way. Yeah, my kids, my daughter at first would just roll her eyes. Now she's a teenager. Y'all have to understand she's a little older than y'all's. But she would get in the car after school, and I'd have Jim Rohn on or somebody, and she'd be like, oh, really? Do I have to listen to this again? I was like, yes, till you memorize it. And one day, something was said, and she quoted something off of Jim Rohn's CD, and I went, yes, it sunk in. So I agree. Our kids are taught a lot of things in school, but not all of them are, worthy of what's going to get them through life. They're not taught how to spend money the right way. They're not taught how to, a great way to make money. So I think that's a cool thing that you guys, you were saying, Jim, that you have them, him listening to the CDs and stuff. I'm a true believer in that. Well, I appreciate you guys spending your evening with me. And especially you, Amber, for taking a little time out of the family vacay to hang out with us. You've flown all day today, right?
Oh, all morning, and then drove again, and.
And we have a snowstorm also happening here, and we've gotten about 10 inches-ish in the last 24 hours or so. So he's a trooper.
I am a trooper. No, I'm here to support my husband. He really wanted to come watch the Broncos play, and thanks to Plexus, we could do it. So
there you go. Well, we'll talk some Plexus. Get a new ambassador while you're there or something, and it'll all be worthwhile for sure.
Lynn, you were awesome, and thank you so much for putting this together. You are awesome, and I appreciate your time and putting this together for everybody out there in the Plexus world, all of the different families of Plexus that have come together. It's just amazing and awe-inspiring, and you and Roy and Donna and Brent and Julie and Joy and everybody that are there, I just applaud you. You guys are awesome.
And I want to thank you as well. Thank you very much for having me. And this is what Plexus is about. There's so many teams that come together to help each other because it's not about rewards for themselves. It's all about the greater good. So I love this company. Thank you, Linda.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. I know Amber's going to watch the replays because she didn't get to watch them live, but that's all good. Did you at least expose anybody to the plane on it or no?
You know, it didn't start until we were about to land. So.
Oh, okay. I know that had been suggested yesterday, so that's all good. Maybe on the flight home you can watch some of the recordings.
I think so. Yeah, that's kind of my plan. So.
Well, very good. All right, guys. Well, have a great weekend. Go Broncos. Tell your husband I'm pulling for his team too. And we will see you guys shortly on something that we do very soon, I'm sure. Thanks so much. Bye.
Dallas. Love you guys. Bye.
Dallas. Bye.
All right. Well, that was fun. Those girls and I had a great time at Leaders Retreat back in the end of October. First time I actually got to meet Amber.